here we have two sentences on this board. The first one in orange, the second one in blue. Now both of these sentences unfortunately have an error or a mistake in a place where this comma should not be. The rule number one, comma does not separate subject from its verb. So let's look at the first sentence. The Los Angeles District Attorney, I'm sorry, I forgot to put dots. Okay, here we are. So the Los Angeles District Attorney, comma, has responded to fear mongering. Now what is the subject here, or where it is? The subject is here, the Los Angeles District Attorney, that's the subject, and where is the verb? Here, has responded. Since we know that comma does not separate subject from its verb, we have to take it away. Okay, and now that sentence is correct. Next, he, comma, is troubled by the misinformations. Again, where is the subject? Subject is here. He. Where is the verb? Is. This is the rest of the sentence. Again, as we can see, here the subject is separated from its verb by comma. What we have to do? We have to take it away. We have to erase it. So, he is troubled by the misinformation. So again, remember, comma does not separate subject from its verb. Excellent. So here is the slide number 2. What does it say? Do not separate two nouns that appear together as a compound subject or compound object. For example, Peter, comma, and his wife have been living in Montreal. Let me put just dot here, sorry. So, what we do know that Peter and his wife is a compound subject. So, we cannot separate this compound subject by comma. So, we have to take it away. And the second, Peter's wife will read her favorite book, comma, and old letters. Again, what is favorite book, comma, and old letters? That's a compound object. What is the object? Peter's wife will read what? She will read favorite book and old letters. So it is a compound object. There are two objects here. And as the rule says, we do not separate two nouns that appear together as a compound subject or compound object. So we have to take this comma away. And now both sentences are in good standing. So this is very important slide. Comma between two verbs in a compound predicate. Here is something very important that we need to realize. We get a compound predicate when the subject of a sentence is doing more than one thing. For example, Maria will sing and dance. So this compound predicate is doing two things, singing and dancing. That means that we cannot separate them with a comma. So what I have to do here, I have to take this out. Okay, and now Maria will sing and dance tango. Tango is a beautiful dance. I love it very much. Tango. And one more. Por una cabeza d'un hombre potrillo. That's a beautiful song. Okay. Now, the other thing which I want to emphasize is that this mistake is most common when the predicate is made up of long verb phrases. For example, I wanted to finish my assignment soon, but I ran out of time. Okay, so here it is. What we see here is that the predicate is made up of very long verb phrase. So in that case, we cannot use this comma. I wanted to finish my assignment soon, but comma, I ran out of time. No, we cannot. So now both of these sentences are in the right or correct standing, except that I again forgot to put the dot. That's not that important in this moment. Okay. So this is slide number 4, comma splices. So we know that comma splices is a mistake. Now, what is important to state here is that when we want to join two independent clauses, we need a conjunction or a semicolon. Conjunction such as so, or semicolon here. Example, I ran of gas, comma, I went to a gas station. Is that correct? No, it is not. Why? Because that's the rule. So what options do I have here? Basically 3 options. Remember, this is not correct, so I will just take it out. Boom. The option number 1, I run of gas, so I have added here a conjunction. I ran of gas, so I went to a gas station. Option number 2, option B, I ran of gas, semicolon, I went to a gas station. Or simply option C, I ran of gas, period. I went to a gas station. So these are 3 options that we can use in order to avoid comma splices. Comma splices is a mistake, so we cannot put the comma here. So this is the next slide, comma after introductory phrase. So here I would like to emphasize one important thing, and let's start with the first, comma after participle phrase. Participle such as grabbing or having finished. So grabbing his laptop, comma, he ran out of school. Having finished his lunch, comma, she called her friend. Now what about adverbial phrase beginning a sentence, such as after, suddenly, and other adverbial phrases? So when an adverbial phrase begins a sentence, it is often followed by a comma, but it doesn't have to be, especially if that sentence is short. As a rule of thumb, if the phrase is longer than about 4 words, we can use the comma. You can also use the comma with a shorter phrase when you want to emphasize it or add a pause for, I would say, literary effect. So for example, when I look at this sentence here, after the performance, comma, she will leave the stage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 5 words. Suddenly, comma, a wild dog appeared behind him. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see, more than 4. So in that case, as long as that adverbial phrase begins and that phrase has more than 4 words, we use comma. The last thing is, for example, this one. Before leaving, he said something very important. This might be misrepresented, but if you want to put importance on that leaving, before leaving, comma, he said something very important. So this sentence would not be correct. It would be this one, because here we want to emphasize that before he left or before that leaving. Okay, so remember, for clarification, before leaving, comma, he said something very important. So this is only in case if there is a really chance of misreading the sentence, we really need to use that comma. Well, let's focus on this slide. Comma within a comparison. When we use the word then for comparison, we never ever place comma before it. For example, John is faster than Charles. We are comparing John and Charles. John is faster. We cannot have comma in front of them, so let's take it away. Next one, Maria is smarter than Eva. Since we have a word then, it is used for comparison. Maria is smarter, we cannot use comma. Next one, luxurious apartments are more expensive, comma, than condominium units. Again, we are comparing apartments with condominium units. We have a word then, we cannot use comma. And the last one, he filed for more bankruptcies, comma, than his boss did. Again, we are comparing how many bankruptcies somebody filed for. We are having here the word then, we cannot use comma in front of it. So let's look at this slide. Commas with interrupters or parenthetical elements. We need to realize that interrupters are like little thoughts that pop up in the middle of a sentence to show emotion or tone or emphasis. A parenthetical element is a phrase that adds extra information to the sentence but could be removed without changing the meaning of the sentence. Both interrupters are parenthetical elements, should be set off with commas. So if I look at this first sentence and I read it, the beautiful woman I was excited to see was beginning to dance. It is obvious that something is missing. We have to feel it. So, the beautiful woman, comma, I was excited to see, was beginning to dance. That makes sense in this moment. So again, the beautiful woman, sorry, these dots, the beautiful woman, comma, I was excited to see, comma, was beginning to dance. Next one, Peter's reading skills, if we can call them skills, left us bewildered. I'm sorry, but I have this weakness on these dots over I, I'm sorry. So again, Peter's reading skills, if we can call them skills, left us bewildered. Here again, we can see that something is missing. We have to separate these sentences or these within the phrase with that comma. And it would be this way. Peter's reading skills, comma, if we can call them skills, left us bewildered. Okay, now that sentence makes full sense. And the last one, it was sadly the last time I saw her dancing. Again, that sentence is dry, right? We need to place the comma where it belongs. It was sadly the last time I saw her dancing. Okay, again, it was, comma, sadly, the last time I saw her dancing. So let's look at a comma with a question tag. So what is a question tag? A question tag is a short phrase or even a single word that is added to the end of a statement to turn it into a question. Writers often use question tags to encourage readers to agree with them. And this question tag should be preceded by a comma, always. So let's look at this example. These cars are very fast, aren't they? There is a comma. Yeah, basically this is what comes at the opposite meaning. You did not come alone, comma, did you? Again, did and did. She has not read this book, has she? They would not hurt us, would they? Always comma before this question tag. She will not divorce him, will she? Comma. He was not informed about it, was he? Comma. So remember that this question tag should be always placed before, like here in this case, aren't, did, has, would, will, was, etc. Well, let's look at this slide when we use comma. Comma with direct address. If we are addressing somebody, in such a case, we always have to place the comma after the name of that person whom we are addressing. Example. John, come here. John, there has to be comma after the name John. Next one. Mom, where are you going? If we are addressing Mom, we have to put a comma. Mr. Bean, why are you behaving this way? Again, we are addressing Mr. Bean, we have to separate it by comma. Maria, when will you marry me? We are addressing Maria, we have to separate Maria by comma. Okay, so let's look right now on the next slide, and that's comma with appositives. And we do know that we have two types of appositives: non-essential appositives and essential appositives. So let me first go through what the appositive actually is. So an appositive is a word or phrase that refers to the same thing as another noun in the same sentence. Often the appositive provides additional information about the noun or helps to distinguish it in some way. So if you could remove the appositive without changing the meaning of the sentence, it is said to be non-essential. It will be non-essential, which will be here in this case. I will go through that. And should be set off with commas. But if the appositive is necessary, it is said to be essential, and it should be or should not be set off with commas. So let's go through these examples. The first one, number one, which is non-essential. The coffee espresso, comma, my favorite drink, comma, is becoming more expensive. So here, this is a non-essential because even if I remove that part from it, it still gives me the clear understanding of what that coffee espresso is becoming more expensive. Or the guitarist, comma, the city's most promising musician, comma, began involved in serious criminal activity. So here, as it says with this non-essential one, that if we can remove the appositive without changing the meaning of the sentence, yeah, so that would be that non-essential one. Now look at that number 2. Dostoevsky masterpiece, Idiot. This is in Russian, idiot, is Russian classic. Here we have removed that comma because this is essential. It's a Dostoevsky's masterpiece, Idiot. I cannot say Dostoevsky's, comma, masterpiece, Idiot. No, it wouldn't make sense. It is directly related to that. Next one. Jean-Baptiste Pavlem, known by his stage name Molière, was a French playwright, actor, and poet widely regarded as one of the greatest writers in the French language. Again, Jean-Baptiste Pavlem, I cannot put the comma here. No, because it is really essential information here. So I have to take it out. Now my fingers are dirty. So again, Jean-Baptiste Pavlem, known by his stage name Molière, was a French playwright, then actor and poet, widely regarded as one of the greatest writers in the French language. Okay, so this is the main difference between non-essential and essential appositives. Well, again, so this slide is very important. It seems to be a little bit complicated, too many colors, too many arrows. Let me explain. So let's see first, comma between coordinate adjectives. So first of all, what are adjectives? Of course, adjectives are the words that modify the noun. What is a noun? Noun can be a place, can be a thing, can be a person. So, but we do know that adjectives modify nouns. Now, adjectives can be, as we say, coordinate adjectives or non-coordinate adjectives. So this statement says, comma, between coordinate adjectives. So before we go to details, we do know that there is an order of adjectives in a sentence, and that order is N-O-S-A-S-C-O-M-P. What that means? The order is N is the number, O is opinion, S is size, A is age, S is shape, C is color, O is origin, M is material, and P is the place. So when we have a sentence where we have many adjectives modifying the noun, there is an order. And of course, not in every sentence you will see number, or you will see the age, or you will see material or color. Sometimes it may be only an opinion or age or material. Sometimes you will see number, size, age, shape, or color, and you will not see the origin. But this is simply the sequence that all these subjectives should follow. So that's what we have said. We have recapitulated what is the order. And now let's go into comma between coordinate adjectives. So in the section number 1, look at this. I went to buy myself one small blue leather jacket. Now you would say, well, I would have to put a comma here, right? Well, here is the thing. If there is a comma between adjectives, it should be only and only with coordinate adjectives. So, but let's focus first here. We have to determine whether these adjectives are coordinate or not coordinate adjectives. So look at that. If the adjectives, if they modify the same noun, the noun is here, the jacket, right? So if those adjectives modify the same noun, but they are in different categories, they are called non-coordinate adjectives, and in such a case we will not put comma between them. What that means, different categories. A category, so for example, number, that's a category for numbers. Yeah? And that's an O is a category for opinions. Size, it's a category for size. It might be big size, small size. The H is a category for older people, younger people, etc. S is a category for shape, right? C is a category for colors. It might be red, blue, green, whatever. O is the origin. You might be of Czechoslovakian origin, Russian origin, Bulgarian origin, Indian origin, American origin, etc. Material. Material, it might be from different. It might be from the metal, it might be from the water, it might be from the whatever it is. Place. Place, it might be Prague, it might be New York, it might be San Francisco, Santa Cruz, etc. So remember that if these nouns modify the same noun, okay, it has to be the same noun. All of these have to be related to the same noun, and in that case the noun is jacket. So if those modify the same noun but they are from different categories, we will not place comma between them. So the sentence would say, I went to buy myself one small blue leather jacket. Okay, so I hope that's clear for non-coordinate adjectives. Let's look now on coordinate adjectives. This is what this is all about. So coordinate adjectives, they modify the same noun, but they are from the same category. Okay, the same category. Example, I want to buy myself blue and red shirt. So if I have determined that these categories are the same because they fall under the category of color. Blue and red is the category of where is that? Where is the color? Here we are, color. Okay. So in that case, if I have determined that these adjectives are coordinate, I have two options what to do. The option number one is A. I want to buy myself blue and red shirt. If I place and between them, there will be no comma. So it wouldn't be I want to buy myself blue, comma, and red. No, we cannot do that. So the second option is, sorry, let me just take it out. So the second option is option B. I want to buy black, comma, red shirt. In such a case, I can put comma. Okay, so regarding this, coordinate adjectives, they will have comma, but we can have an exception. If we place between these two words within the same category of color, if we place and, there will be no comma. If we don't put and there will be a comma. Okay, so let's look at this slide, comma before but. Well, we place comma before but if it is joining two independent clauses. Example, I want to go to see my wife, comma, but she is nowhere to be found. So you could see that this entire sentence composed of these two clauses, each of them can stand independently. So both phrases could stand alone as two independent clauses. Okay, so it could be I want to go to see my wife. That's one independent clause. She is nowhere to be found. That's a second independent clause. So if we join them by but, we have to place comma. Look at this example, which is tricky. Grammar is boring but necessary. Grammar is boring, comma, but it is necessary. Here, in this first example, grammar is boring could stand apart alone, but the second one cannot. Necessary. No, it doesn't make sense. So these two clauses could not be separate. That's why we have to put but there, but we will not separate them, because this is the sentence, this one, that is as a one clause. Second example, grammar is boring, comma, but it is necessary. You could see that this sentence could be understood as two independent clauses. Grammar is necessary, grammar is boring, and it is necessary. So these are two independent clauses, and when they join together by but, we have to place comma there. And remember that this comma rule applies to all conjunctions such as and, so, or. So for example, grammar is boring and it is necessary. Grammar is boring, so it is necessary.